I'm gonna screen share with you, but since we're a small group, like we can just have a conversation. I just didn't want to be going through Pinterest live and like my internet cut out or something like that and you not be able to see it. Um, so a little bit about Pinterest and me. I originally tried not to join Pinterest when it first came out because I thought it was just a big black hole and a time suck. And I actually didn't really even like it at first. So I avoided it for a while, which is something I routinely kick myself about because I probably could have thousands of more followers had I been like at the very beginning, you know? But I didn't because I'm a late charger. Um, so I really started using Pinterest as a way to drive traffic maybe about a year and a half to 2 years ago. And what really took off for me was my care package posts. People would share them hundreds of times and I would start seeing it in my analytics, and then that's why I realized like Pinterest is the way to go for me. There's a lot of military spouses there, a lot of military significant others, and because my demographic is almost all female, it makes sense for me to be there. I think the guys who follow me are like there's 5 of them or something. And usually I get like creepy guy follows that I have to block them. So it's fun. So I'm just going to go through like the very basics. If you have questions, let me know because I don't know where you guys are. And I'm not like the guru. I don't know all of the reasons why some of the things work or why they don't work. I just know what works for me and what has shown me a lot of things. I've actually gotten 2 jobs managing Pinterest accounts for other people because they found me on Pinterest. So it could be a source of side income for you. Right now I'm managing Sandbox, the Sandbox app, if you guys have heard of that. And I'm working with them to help them grow and make their Pinterest a little bit more female friendly. So if you see Sandbox pinning your stuff, that's me. All right, let me screen share with you. So can you guys see that?
Nothing yet. Well, I think the screen goes to like whoever's talking, and so there we go.
All right, can you see that? It looks like Pinterest page.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Okay, so sweet. All right, so the first thing to do to really optimize your Pinterest, and it's a lot of things that people don't do. I think they just skip it. Is like to have a great profile picture, or at least one that you can see clearly. A lot of times people use their blog logos, and then you can't see like what it says. It just looks like a tiny little squiggle or something. So I've got my picture there. I also opted to use my blog name. Somebody else already had Joe My Gosh, which is still sometimes a weird like thing where people will try to tag me and they'll tag her. But I'm Joe My Gosh one, and I also use Joe My Gosh as my handle. I know some people do like Joe at Joe My Gosh or something like that. I think it's just easier just to have your blog there because unless your blog is your name, you know, just to try to keep continuity, like my Instagram, my Facebook, and my Twitter all are just Joe My Gosh. The next thing is your profile description. So my tagline is stories and advice that feel like coming home. And then I added the main things that people find me for. So relationships, and then I used the word long distance and military to try to pull in those people when they're searching me. Care packages, DIYs, recipes, and then I just pulled it together with the things that matter. So let me see. Oh, the other thing, connect your site and your Twitter, because people will find you and they want to be able to follow you on more than one platform. And I'm not sure why people don't do that, but I've got my Twitter and my blog all linked up there so people can find me easily. Okay. Go next. Sorry, I've never done a screen share before, so I'm still getting used to it. Okay, so here's a tool that I use a lot. It's very easy. You just go to pinterest.com/source/whatever your blog's URL is. And so /joemygosh.com. And I look at this probably once a day just to see who's pinning what for my site. So it'll bring up everything that people have pinned from my site in just a big long Pinterest feed, so you can scroll back like months and months and months. And this just helps me get anecdotal evidence to see what is catching people's fancy, what they like, or if they're adding different descriptions to my posts. So there, you can just see, like, I've got 3 open when posts up. I think all posted by different people. And then you can just see, what's there. So that's a really, really great resource. Plus, it's just kind of nice to see that people are finding your stuff interesting. I also use this to see what boards people are posting my things under, to give me ideas for blog post titles or for other maybe board posts or boards on Pinterest for myself. Okay, so then sorry this is so disjointed. I was just I didn't really have a great way to make it all flow together. So one of the things that I try to do with Pinterest is to really make my boards a collection and to curate them rather than just throwing a bunch of stuff up there and just seeing what happens. So I'd say like every couple months I go through my boards and I look and see if there are any pins that I accidentally pinned to the wrong board. I also go and see what's doing really, really well, anecdotally. And then I'll check and see if there are any pins that don't have any repins, likes, or comments. So Pinterest favors pins that have likes, pins, and comments. And so if your post doesn't have those things, most likely it's not going to show up very high in search results anyway. So I just delete them. I also like to do that for social proof, because if somebody's going through one of my boards and they see a whole bunch of my stuff that hasn't been repinned, they're probably going to be like, she's a loser, and keep moving on. But if they see, like, for example, this 13 care package approved recipes, it has 15 repins, most likely they'll think that it has something of worth, and they'll probably repin it. So if you go into the boards on the upper right-hand side, there's a button there. When you click it, it will say move, copy, or delete. And so all you do, you can see here that my Win a Roomba pin has absolutely nothing. Like, nobody's commented on it, nobody has repinned it, nobody liked it. Weirdly enough, that graphic has not done well on Pinterest at all. I think people think it's a hoax or something. So all you do is when you click that bar at the top, it'll bring up these little check boxes in the right-hand corner of every one of your pins. Just go through and click the ones that you want to, whoops, I forgot that wasn't Pinterest, my bad. Go through and click the ones that you want to move, copy, or delete, and then you can do that. So you can copy like a whole board and place it somewhere else if you want to. I'll just go through and I'll just delete anything that has no kind of social proof attached to it. Does that make sense? Any questions so far?
Where did you click on to edit that, to get those little boxes to come up?
Yeah, I didn't get a screenshot of it. So if you go to, I gotta see what the actual
I'm looking for it.
But if you go to the upper right hand corner of your board, there will be something there. And let me see.
End board, edit board, maybe?
There you go. Yep. Wait, is it edit? No, I don't think so.
Move pins.
There
it is. I think move pins.
Yep, move pins. And so once you click on that, it'll make those 3 little bars: move, copy, or delete.
Cool. Thank you.
Which, yeah, no problem. It totally beats the way Pinterest used to be, which is you had to go through and delete every single one by hand, which was awful.
Huge pain. Yeah.
And I never did it. So anyway, so I think that's a really good tool, especially if you're super OCD like me and hate seeing stuff out of place. Um, okay. So then the next thing to look at is boards. So when you create your Pinterest account, you're going to split your stuff up into different boards. And people do it like they organize it in all different ways. I've seen people do like topic and then subtopic. So like holiday colon Christmas, or like recipes colon Christmas cookies. Um, I don't do that mostly because I started off not doing that, and then I don't want to. Every time you change your board name, it'll change the URL. So I've already used a lot of those URLs in different blog posts and things like that. So I don't want to change those. So I have a whole bunch of different boards. I think I have like 78 by now. Not all of those are my own boards. Some of them are group boards. But I've tried to do topics for each board that makes sense for my audience and my community. So you'll see like our wedding, career resources for military spouses, my sailor, deployment resources. These boards are also really helpful because I can multiply post a lot of my own blog posts to a whole bunch of those same boards. So it makes it a lot easier for me to share. I'm not just sharing to one board, I'm sharing to like 20 different boards when I have a blog post, say about like deployment resources or something like that. One of the cool things you can do with the boards is that if you click on them, you can move them around. So you can change the lineup the way that your audience will see those boards. So if you have something that you want to highlight, you can bring that to the top. I'm not sure. Some people say that it does change the way like you're ranked on Pinterest, and so like boards that are higher ranked, if they're up at the top, you'll get better search results. I don't know if that's true or not, but it's something good. Everybody has different opinions on it. I wouldn't change my boards because of that. But I would put like your most active boards at the top as long as they're your boards and not a group board. Let me see. Okay, so when you do the boards too, oh, I forgot. Yeah, you can do secret boards too. So secret boards, I think, used to be where if you turned them secret, they had to stay secret. Now you can toggle it, so you can turn them on and off. So I think this is really helpful if you want to create a very robust board, say for a sponsorship post, or if something like that. I know that Operation In Touch a while ago had a contest where you could do a pin board and enter it in. You could put it secret until you're ready to show it off, and then turn it on. People can see it for a specified amount of time, and then you can turn it off again, rather than deleting the whole thing. I also use this. You can see that I use it for Christmas presents, and then writing inspiration and writing opportunities that I find. So I just don't want people to see those. Not because I am saving anything real juicy. It's just I think that it clutters it up for my audience. Not that I don't share like more personal things. Like I have an embroidery and cross stitch board just because I really love that. I have a silhouette board on there too. Because I see Pinterest is not just a place for resources, but a place where my audience can connect with me, so they can see the kinds of things that I like too. And most likely, they probably like one or two of those things. Yeah. Any questions? I feel very professorial today. Sorry. Oh, another thing you can do. So these boards here, you know how they show when you're looking at the board, it shows like one big picture and then 3 smaller pictures. You can choose which picture shows up as your main picture in the board. So I did go through and I changed all of my pictures so that they were bright and vibrant. I'll go back. Oops. So if you look at those, they're all bright and vibrant, and they all have to do specifically with that board. So it's, for deployment resources, if I had a pin that had cookies on it, that wouldn't really make a lot of sense. So I tried to choose things that were thematic. And I think that it makes it pretty, but I think it also makes it a lot more visually appealing so that people want to hang around on your profile a little bit longer. Oh, the last thing you want to do for your boards is to make sure that they're SEO, and that they are like optimized, and that they, how do I say this, don't suck. So a lot of people use Pinterest boards like to put really super cutesy titles, and a lot of times when I read them, either I don't know what they're talking about or it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. So I just like to go with just the bare basics. It's great for SEO because if people are searching those topics, like they're not going to search like John, my husband, my sailor. That doesn't make sense. But they might be searching my sailor. Or for deployment resources, a lot of people have boards that say like the suck. And while that makes sense in our community, it doesn't really do well for SEO. And so you might get a lot of people searching things like that who are probably looking for more pornographic resources on Pinterest, honestly, than they are looking for like stuff about deployment. So I think keep it short and sweet, and descriptive. But again, that's up to you and to your voice and what you want to show off. Okay, so then when we look in the board, the same thing applies like SEO titles and descriptions. This is one of my most popular boards. To my knowledge, nobody else has a care package board that is as big as mine, which I could totally be wrong, but I've spent a lot of time looking for different care package stuff from all over the internet, and so I have a lot of people who follow it, and I get a lot of repins from it, a lot more than a lot of my other boards. So yeah, my description, if you look at my description, I also include military, college students, and missionaries, because believe it or not, I get a lot of people who are following me because they have a missionary somewhere in the world that they're sending care packages to, or they've got a college student. So I wanted to appeal to a wider audience, even though most of my stuff is military focused. And I chose this picture too to show you guys the difference between high quality and low quality pictures. So if you see my picture here, the 12 college football care package ideas, that's one that I bought. I used 123rf.com. I found it to be pretty cheap. So I think it's like $3 maybe, or $3.65, something like that, to buy a picture, which has been really, really wonderful. So it's like nice and clear and it's vibrant. And then the other two pictures are kind of in varying states of high quality or not. They're pictures that people have taken with their phones. So while that's really wonderful to show how authentic these pictures are, they're probably not pictures that you want to lead with for a Pinterest optimized photo. So like I probably wouldn't choose a picture I've taken with my phone unless it's been like in really good light, and it's really high quality, to make like as my title image. Let's see. Oh, and the other thing, you want to think like your audience when you look at these boards. So try to think about what people are repinning, and then try to find things that are along the same vein, or to write something that's along the same vein so people are interested in that. If you're not doing it, you should have rich pins installed on your Pinterest page and on your site. Right now, mine's kind of screwed up. I don't know why it says byfacebook.com/JoeMyGosh. I'm trying to get them to fix it, but yeah, that's how it is right now. But what it would normally say would be like by Joe My Gosh. It gives you a link. It imports your metadata so that even if you don't have a description down here, you still have a description in that like gray spot. And it just makes, like physically on the page, it makes your pictures a little bit longer because there's more information on that pin, so people will get to see your stuff for a little bit longer as they're scrolling. It also is I think, more professional when you install rich pins. It looks a little cleaner, a little bit nicer.
How do you do
Um,
that? Do you mind if I ask? There's like
yeah,
a technical way to.
it's not hard. All it does, there are directions, and it's been a while since I installed it for me, but I know that it has to do with your open graph data. So as long as you've got, they walk you through it. If you Google it on Pinterest, it'll show up, and you can do it. I think maybe it took me 5 minutes to install. It's not very
Okay.
hard.
Cool.
Yeah. So let's see. Okay. So I know one thing Alicia wrote about was like, how do you pick like fonts or colors or titles, all that stuff to make up a pin. So for me, there's a couple. Oh, Heather, you see your one pin is doing really well on my page.
Oh, hey.
The cookies, the care package cookies. I've pinned that a whole bunch of times.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Mhm.
So I would say, all right, this is what I used to do. I used to treat every single one of my pins as like a fun, exciting foray into the artistic talent I don't have. And so I've got a lot of pins floating around out there that they're not bad, they're terrible. So let me see if I can find one. Yeah, there you go. So if you look at that everything you need for a spectacular summer care package, I don't know what I was thinking. It's just so atrocious looking. It's hard to read. The fonts look like I don't know, like a 4-year-old girl who's interested in unicorns picked out. It's just so terrible, and it's embarrassing. I need to change it. But you can see here, like if you go caddy corner to the right, you see the 102 stocking stuffers for deployment. So I rebranded, and now I have a template that I use and brand colors, and that looks a little bit more like a 30-year-old woman created it rather than somebody obsessed with Hello Kitty. um, but I think it also gives you, when you brand all of your images kind of in the same way, I think it makes you look a lot more professional. And I think people often think that you are more, maybe more established or an expert than you might actually be. It's especially really good if you're starting out to have a really strong branding plan. And I think if you carry that over onto Pinterest, like one thing that I've noticed, if you guys see like Lauren or JD's pins, so military wife and mom or semi-delicate balance, when you see their pins on Pinterest, you know absolutely who it is before you even read who it's by. Like Lauren uses a lot of red and blue and very bright pictures, and JD always has like the 1/3 or 1/4 of the picture covered with the title. Same fonts, same. JD doesn't use the same colors all the time, but I think usually the colors that she does use are coming directly from that pin, so they're coordinated. So I would say pick 1 or 2 fonts that you really like and just use those. I have 3 different ones that I use for those there, and then I have like 4 different main colors with lighter colors that I can use for accents. That's what I do. I'd also watermark everything. Like pick a way you want to watermark it and watermark it. And that also reminds me, the size is really important. So you want to have, and I'll type it in here so you guys have it. I found that there's 2 sizes that work really, really well. And I'm just sending those to you. Pinterest is 735 by 1102 pixels, or I found that 1000 by 2000 also works well. So like the first one is what you're looking at right here, where it's a little bit fatter, a little wider, and it looks more like a picture. And then the 1000 by 2000 is much skinnier, and so like when you're on a mobile phone, when you scroll, your picture stays on the screen longer, which is really, really nice, and hopefully people will, it's drawing their attention. One thing, like, I will beg you, anybody who will ever watch this video, don't use horizontal images if you can help it, because they're not optimized for Pinterest, and they look kind of ugly and stubby on the page. And a lot of times when I'm trying to share resources from other military spouses or military blogs, they use those. And so it doesn't attract people to my board to repin. And it usually looks kind of amateur. Just like when you look at it alongside other, let me see if I have one of those examples to show you guys. Here, there you go. I don't want to call anybody out, so I tried to pick just some random pictures. But if you see there's like the picture up in the corner, that's horizontal. It just looks a lot stubbier and squashed as compared to the other pictures in here. And it really makes a difference because Pinterest is so visual, and a lot of people will just skip, even if it's good meaty like stuff that you're trying to get them to pin, they're just going to skip by it because it doesn't look good. The next best, so horizontal is the best, or I'm sorry, vertical is the best layout for pictures. Square is second best on Pinterest, and then everything else, horizontal does not do so well.
Can I ask a question? Yeah. Do you resize your pictures when you upload them to your blog, as far as like just not the shape, but the actual size?
I compress them when I upload them. I use Smush It, and then I just upload them and leave them be, to be quite honest. So on my blog, I have 3 different kind of pictures on every blog post. I have the Pinterest 735 by 1102, and then that's like at the closest to the top of the page. Then I have a Facebook optimized one that's horizontal, that looks really good in links on Facebook, and then I use and that's somewhere in the middle, and then I have the 1000 by 2000 picture down at the bottom, in case anybody wants to use it, because sometimes the really long picture actually looks just really pretty, and people just pin it because they like it, I think. But I give those 2 options, and a lot of times I'll pin both of them just to do an A/B test and see what works best. Does that answer your question, Heather?
Yeah, thank you.
Sweet. Yeah, no problem. Okay, so sorry, I've got all my notes here. I just want to make sure. So one thing I found for driving traffic that's really, really useful is that every so often I'll redo pictures. So if you see like that 102 puns for care packages picture, that's not the original picture, but I just refreshed it. It's one of my highest driving blog posts. So every so often I'll just go back through and either find posts that I know are really good quality but had just awful, awful pictures attached to them, like that horrible summer one, and redo that, or I'll go through and just refresh an image on a good post already, and throw it back up onto Pinterest to generate new traffic. That has done wonders for reaching new people, reaching different kinds of people, and getting more people to come to my blog. Right now, I think I get about 80 to 85% of my traffic from Pinterest. I think the last time I looked, I think just for this 102 puns thing, I get like 7,000 clicks a month, which is kind of crazy because, I mean, it's not unlocking the secrets of the universe or anything. It's just puns. But that's what works, and that's what people want. So that's one thing that is really important too, that I think for Pinterest, is to look at what people want and to try to brainstorm what else they could want. So I noticed that there are a lot of people on my care package boards who are repinning a lot of really funny but dorky boxes with a lot of puns in them. So I compiled a big list, and it turned out to be a big hit. Oh, Natalie asked, do I change the images on the post to update the pinned image? or do I actually edit the pin itself? No, I just edit the post. And so I don't try to track down everything on Pinterest because it's impossible. It's a black hole that you'll never get out of. So I just will put, I'll put the new pictures on, I'll delete the old ones off of my blog post, and then I will schedule those new pictures to go out onto Pinterest. That's another thing that I totally forgot, but I learned by like really not such great means. I had a post that divulged personal information about myself on Pinterest, and I think I've almost gotten to delete all of the pins, so just be careful. I had to work with Pinterest over months and months and months and months to get them to delete all of the pins that were being shared with my personal information on it. It was a new blogger mistake and was like super stupid. So just be careful, especially if you have kids, especially if you haven't really decided whether or not you want to show certain aspects of your life. For me, it was just one of those things where I just accidentally, it's in the background of a picture, and I just left it on, and it was like, whoops, I missed that. So just be careful, because Pinterest, it's not really like Twitter where you can go and delete your tweet, even though it's still there. Pinterest has no way of tracking down like all of the repins from, like, if you think of it like a tree, you can like hack at parts of the tree, but it's really hard to find all the other branches of it without doing a lot of searches and spending tens of hours on it. Anyway, so just a side note. Okay, so one thing that's really catapulted my Pinterest has been using group boards. So I think at the beginning of this year, I might have started out with maybe 1,500 followers. Right now I'm at almost 7.7 thousand. And that's due to two things. Oh no, I think my video is hold on. All right, is that better? No, I don't think it is. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, well, my headphones are not working. That's fine. All right, so it might reverb. I'm really sorry about that. All of a sudden, it just started reverbing me. So anyway, so I've probably gained maybe 5,000-ish new followers over the past year, and that's from group boards mainly, posting great pictures that people want to repin, and then also using Tailwind, which is a scheduler, which I'll show you guys in a minute. So this is an example of a group board that I use. It's called Marriage Resources, because I talk about, oh, it's echoing again. Do you guys mind putting your just putting your mics on mute just for a second to see if that works? I'm really sorry. Is that better? No reverb? I'm sorry. So anyway, Marriage Resources, I do often write about relationship topics, so I joined that board to just be able to show or to show my stuff to a wider audience and people who might be interested in it, even if they're not specifically military. I also use the Marriage Blog Tour, which if you do write about relationships, you need to get on that. So if you look at this pin, I pinned that, I'm not even sure when, but it picked up 166 repins very easily, and even though it's not military based, and even though this pin is, it spoke to a wider audience. Which also, if you're looking at different kinds of pins, doing an infographic or putting different kinds of information on your pin really works well. This particular pin has probably been repinned between probably 15,000 and 20,000 times, just because it shows letter topic information, or open one letter topic information. People go nuts about that. So they really like it. They repin it. I would love to do more infographics, but I actually really hate making them, so it was a labor of love the first time around. I don't know if I will do that again. Okay, so let's talk about Tailwind. So Tailwind is a plugin I use. I think it's about $10 a month if you buy a whole year of it. It is hands down one of the best tools that I have used for my blog and growing it and making it more of a competitor and more professional. So before I would just kind of repin things when I would feel like it or when I would remember, and I'd be doing a lot of like repinning the same thing over and over and over and over and over again, or missing boards or things like that. Tailwind makes it super, super easy. I can just put everything in with the click of a button, scramble it or schedule it for specific times, and it will just go out. So I literally have a drip of Pinterest stuff going to my Pinterest feed all hours of the day and night, even when I'm sleeping, which makes it keeps information like constantly flowing to my followers. And that's pretty exciting. So the other cool thing that I love about Tailwind is that it shows you different metrics so you can follow it. The only thing is it'll only show from when you started. So this isn't for the entire life of my it's not the entire life of my Pinterest account. It is only for like since last January or last December when I started with it. Alicia asked a great question. She said, does Pinterest throttle Tailwind like Facebook does with outside schedulers? No, Pinterest doesn't, not at this point. In fact, I think Tailwind used to be, and it might still be, the only official scheduler that has the API for Pinterest. So it integrates really, really well. I love it. I can't say enough good things about it. It literally has given me hours and hours and hours back of productivity. All I do is I go in and I'll show you guys how that works. I like this part where it shows me the board insights so I can see like Sailor Sweeties Club. Also, if you are if you're military blogging, you need to join this group. There's probably only 3 people who are very active on it that are bloggers. But it gives you an engagement score so you can see how engaged people are. Also, Military Family Blogs, The Heroes at Home, that's another awesome group board. That one probably catapults my stuff more than any other because I think maybe 10 or 15,000 people follow that one board. So that's awesome. Let me see what else. Okay, so this is what my schedule looks like, which makes it really nice. So I go in and I just schedule, and it shows me how everything is going to show up. And so at a glance, I can see. I can also drag and drop things. So if I don't like, for example, that there are 2 posts next to each other that are the same, I can always flip-flop it around. This shows me, again, for the life of my account with Tailwind, not for my entire Pinterest, but it'll show me the highest repinned pins. It'll show me the picture, it'll show me the repins, the likes, the comments. I can also choose to reschedule it, which is also really nice to keep the engaging stuff constantly at the top of my feed. It gives you a pinning schedule, so it'll suggest times where people are very active, and then all you do is you click. So everything that you see there in green is when I have things going out and pinning onto Pinterest. Anything with the little like dotted edge around it is not going out to Pinterest, or it's not officially scheduled. So if I click that, it would become another time that people could see my stuff. Okay, and I'm trying to go fast because I know we have a lot of time, but there's so much good stuff with Pinterest, and it's really exciting. So the other thing you want to look at outside of, like, say, if you got Tailwind, is also Pinterest analytics from their site. They give you a lot of really, really good information that can help with scheduling blog posts. It can help you figure out what you need to do and tweak to your profile and just see how people are liking it. So what I like to look at is just the basic information here to see how my Pinterest profile is doing, how many people are viewing my stuff, what the activity is. I also like that they show the top pin impressions, so I can see how many people are getting to see certain pins of mine. So that's really nice, especially when I'm considering making more content. I can see and try to figure out if I can create things that are the same. It also gives me a lot of surprises. So, for example, my Harry Potter care package post has been seen 48,000 times, but it's only been repinned 200 times. So that gives me just another way that I can think about creating content. It's kind of fun. You can look at the impressions. You can look at the demographics of your audience, country. You can look at their metro area, which weirdly enough I have some strange demographics, which is fine. It's just it makes me laugh sometimes. You can also look at your interests, which is also very helpful for figuring out what kinds of things outside of your own content you could be pinning. What kinds of things that you could be creating yourself for your blog. Like inspirational quotes is a big thing, so I created an affirmation post, like military spouse affirmations, and then I created a whole bunch of pictures with each affirmation on it that I got the idea from the Pinterest interests. You can also see the pinners who love your stuff and constantly repin your stuff, which is also helpful because you can see what other kinds of, like, go on their board and see what other kinds of stuff that they like. So it can help inform some of your content uses, especially if you find that the people who are repinning your stuff are your, like, perfect audience. And you can also see what kinds of brands they follow and engage. Just to see, what interests them. And for example, like if I could emulate some BuzzFeed posts or, do something about Etsy. It's also helpful, like here they're following Blog Lovin', so I know that probably a lot of them follow multiple blogs. Yep, you can see the all-time repins, which is amazing. Just to put it in context of your entire experience on Pinterest, what you like. Often I find the same posts showing up over and over again. Yeah, and that's it. Hold on, let me stop sharing so I can talk to you guys again, not like a weirdo. There we go. Okay, so I think that's all I have. I will take questions if anybody has questions. Also, I forgot, if you want to try Tailwind, I can send you guys like a free month of Tailwind because I'm a member. So just let me know. Send me your email if you want to try it. It's awesome. So any questions? You can turn on your mics again. Sorry. Oh, Alicia, I forgot one of your questions. You said, where do you make most of your graphics, infographics included? For my graphics, I used to do PicMonkey, and then just about a month ago, I took the leap to doing Photoshop. So I have a monthly subscription for Photoshop. I think it's like $9.95 a month. I'm still learning it. It's got a very steep learning curve, but already I think my pictures look a lot better. And my problem with PicMonkey was that I couldn't, even though it says that you can import different fonts, it'll use the fonts on your computer. My brand fonts that I wanted to use, it wouldn't show up. And so with Photoshop, everything shows up, and it's really nice. But I would say PicMonkey, especially if you're not going to be using some wacky fonts or anything like that, or if you just want to make it easy. People use Canva too, and I don't remember what I made that infographic with. I think I just Googled like infographic creator or something like that. Oh, Crystal, I've used Canva in the past, but I don't currently use it.
How do you recommend, I guess, jumping in and getting started with kind of on the Pinterest journey?
So I would say figure out who your audience is and figure out also what topics you're going to be writing about. So once you have that, then figure out what boards strategically make the most sense for both of those things. Like for me, I write a lot about military relationships. I write about care packages, and I know that my audience are really interested in that, so I've got boards for both. In fact, for care packages, I have 2 different boards. I have the care packages that I've made, and then I have like care package ideas from around the internet. So basically, just think about, you know, what are people searching for, and what can you offer? How can you corral that stuff, you know, in a way that makes sense to you? I'd go and check out maybe other bloggers that you're interested in that are close to your niche. But I would not copy them, because what makes sense to them doesn't make sense to you. And it's not authentic to you. Anybody else?
I do have I'm sorry.
Yeah, sure.
So I guess, and this is literally me, rookie question, what's the ratio of like content that you're creating for Pinterest versus like sharing? Is there like a kind of formula that you use with how many of your own that you post versus how many you integrate with sharing other ladies, I guess?
So I am not a very scientific person, and I like having plans, but I often am terrible with follow through if it's not easy for me to figure out. So what I do is anything that is created by me, I throw, or like, so any of my posts from Joe My Gosh, or like if I'm doing Next Gen or Military One Click, I also schedule those. And I schedule all of the boards, everything, so that I don't have to worry about it. And then I share organically, because I also like to use Pinterest, so I don't really see it that much as work. So usually I'll search for things, or if I see it like on the Buddy blogging group, I will throw that up onto Pinterest, not scheduled, just organically. So I don't really have, I know some other people say like you should do 3 to 1, like 3 pieces of other people's work to your one. I would say that I've never seen a decrease in followers from sharing my own stuff. As long as you're not obnoxious and flooding like 40 things of yourself at a time, I think you're okay to share as much or as little as you're comfortable with. I know that people share me because they want to read my stuff, and they like the relationship I've built with them, and they also like the kind of military life that I'm talking about. So I don't feel bad about sharing stuff like that. Natalie asks, how, from the large number of repins you get, how many of those turn into actual page views on your blog? I don't know how I could quantify that, and probably somebody who's way better at data. I never did take stat in college, but I would say that a lot of those are being are going back in, because I've got about 80% of my total traffic is through Pinterest, and this month, the last 30 days, I've had 170,000 page views. So whatever 80% of that is being converted. I don't know how to be more scientific than that. I'm really sorry, Natalie. But I think it is worth it. I think it's definitely worth it. The other thing is I've noticed is it takes a while to get started. And sometimes I'll put pins up that I know are good pins. I know that people will be interested in it, but I won't see repins immediately. Some of my posts have sat there for a while, and then all of a sudden they explode one day. And I don't know if it's because Pinterest changes the way people search. I don't know if it's that one power pinner pins my stuff one time and then like a bajillion people repin it. But don't be discouraged, because a lot of your stuff will probably not get repinned, and then 5 months later you'll be like, why are so many people coming to my site from that one pin? Oh wait, something magical and awesome happened, and I can't explain it, but it happened. Any other questions? I know it was really fast, and I'm sorry, and it's probably super awkward too. But I'm happy to help or answer questions later. Or
Thank you so much. It was really helpful.
yeah, no problem. All right, so I'm gonna wrap up then. I'm good. I'll drop some of the URLs that I wanted you guys to see, but apparently nobody could see. I'll also drop a couple other URLs if you want to use them, and like if you want to email me about whatever, that's cool too. Okay, I'll talk to you later. Thanks, guys. See ya.
Thanks, Joe.